Welcome, everyone, to a new episode of On the Rise. My name is Vishal Yathish. On the Rise features top-tier founders and innovators to talk about their journeys and motivations to help inspire the next generation of leaders. Today, we're joined by Aadit Palicha. Aadit is the founder of Zepto, a quick commerce startup that delivers groceries in 10 minutes. Zepto just recently closed its Series D funding round, raising $200 million. Hi, Aadit. Thanks again for joining us today. We're so excited to have you.
It's wonderful to be here, Vishal, and yeah, thanks for the kind introduction.
So starting off, you founded your company at 19 years old, dropping out of Stanford University. What motivated you to take this step, and what are some of the factors that went into that decision?
Well, the key motivation was really when we had a business that was substantial and growing, and it looked like an opportunity to create a large company in a very short period of time. That was, I guess, that was the motivating factor, which was, we've got something real here, and it's very, very rare to get something like that. Potentially even harder to get into an elite college than it is to build a company with compelling product market fit. And so when we had found that evidently, and customers were loving our product, revenue was growing, and we saw sort of an exciting opportunity to build this out, that's when I think we decided to pull the trigger. When we started working on this project, we had no intention of starting a business, but it ended up evolving into just that. So yeah.
That's really interesting. And I believe you received early investment from Global Founders Capital and Contrary Capital. How did these early checks help you scale?
The early checks came from, I think, very supportive investors that just genuinely gave us perspective on the intricacies of the basics of company building, like how we should think about product market fit, how we should think about customer retention, NPS, multiple other metrics that really just sort of define the trajectory of the business. And yeah, I mean, I think the early interactions we had with those investors just helped us, develop a framework on what we optimized for during the early days. So it was definitely great. I think the investments themselves, largely just gave us runway to carry out experiments on what worked and what didn't work. Right? I think when GFC or Contrary Capital or any of the other investors, the early investors came in, we really did not have 100% clarity on what we were doing and how it would scale. And so, yeah, I mean, I think those checks were just instrumental to giving us some breathing room to run experiments on what might work and what might not work.
Yeah, and clearly some things you're doing right. Zepto experienced 940% user growth during Q1 of 22, I believe. You can fact check that if that number is not correct.
Yeah, that's directionally true. Yeah.
So that is incredible. How do you maintain this momentum?
I mean, it's almost entirely a function of the team that we've built out, right? We've got a management team that's got collectively decades, if not, decades of experience, close to a century of experience between them. And so yeah, I mean, I think the team that we've got, the clarity that we have on next steps, on what growth looks like, what expansion looks like, how we need to optimize the intricacies of our supply chain so that customer experience holds its scale. All of that is just a function of the leadership team that we have. And yeah, I mean, I think that's the base, the bedrock of our momentum.
And also, huge congrats on your recent raise. So for the last quarter or so, investors have been hesitant to make many large bets. How were you able to attract some of the best investors, such as Nexus and YC Continuity Fund?
Yeah, I think for us, we've already had sort of long pre-existing relationships with these investors, and we've been a lot of them were on our cap table. A few of them were external investors that came in for the first time in this round. It was just it's a element of like long relationship building, right? When you're in a position where you meet an investor, they've got a they're pretty excited about the core rationale behind the business and what it looks like today. But what they want to see is execution month on month. And then you have a relationship with them where every month they can see you hitting targets and they can see the business evolving, not just from a growth perspective, but also from a unit economics perspective, right? That just gives people a lot of, it just gives people a very comfortable position to take a call down the road that says, hey, I've seen this company very early on. Look at where it is today. Month on month, these guys have hit all their targets. And yeah, I'm comfortable that trend will continue over the medium to long term. And it makes sense as an investment. So yeah.
And also, a huge congrats on getting into YC 2022 most funded companies list alongside Airbnb, Stripe, and Coinbase. How has your YC experience helped you through your journey?
Y Combinator just gives you a framework in the early days to push for product market fit. I mean, I think as an early stage startup founder, at that point, you just don't have clarity on how to approach, clarity on how to approach a lot of the problems that show up day to day. It just feels like constant fire that's burning across the board. And so, yeah, I mean, YC just gives you a framework to say, hey, this is how you should look at the metrics. This is how you should look at your company. These are the metrics that are important to gauge whether you're doing a good job or not. These are what investors look for. And this is effectively what you should be, trying to optimize over the 3-month period that they have. And then, that was the early stage program. And as we got sort of more late stage, YC has just been critical, not only in terms of the capital that they put into the business, but also in terms of the, in terms of the quality of guidance that they've given us, right? I think YC is probably one of the only investors out there that really sort of, or at least one of the only investors that we've come across that's just taken the pain to understand our very complex business in great detail and give us nuanced feedback on the approach that we want to take, how we want to plan the next 4 to 6 quarters, everything from the facilities that we need to set up on our back end to like the way that we want to structure our organization at scale. And so yeah, Y Combinator is just for us practically like like an operator, right, in that sense, in terms of at least the guidance that they give you. So it's been great.
And you've obviously been experiencing tremendous growth. So what's next for Zepto over the next 5 to 10 years?
Yeah, I mean, I think for us, the key is probably just going to be like it's just going to be sustainable growth, right? We're in a position where we've got multiple micro markets that are trending towards profitability. The company is growing, multiples year on year, and yeah, we're just excited about continuing to grow while seeing more and more of our micro markets hit profitability and using the money that we make from not just the capital that we raise, but also from the contribution margin that we're able to derive from some of our more mature dark stores into continuing to fund the business. So as it just gets healthier and healthier and bigger simultaneously, that I think is just what we're gunning for over the next 4 quarters or so.
And you are so close to reaching unicorn status. So that's really incredible. What advice would you give to young entrepreneurs like me who want to follow in your footsteps and start their own companies?
So that was the advice that I would give. Was that your question?
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's just like, Keval and I started this company out of genuine natural curiosity on whether we'd be able to solve a problem. We had no intention of starting a large company or raising huge amounts of capital or building a team and hiring hundreds of people. That's not where we started. Right? And when we talk to a lot of people early in their journey, that seems to be the focal point for why they're getting started, right? And I think that's not the right approach. I would probably stick to an approach that basically sticking to an approach where you're just genuinely curious about what you're building. You have a genuine need to try to solve the problem that you're interested in. And I think the rest comes from there. Right? The harder part is actually just the hard part to me is getting that that authentic drive to build something that you're interested in, not like the actual business building that comes after that. Obviously, that's incredibly difficult, but especially in the early stages, what you want to focus on is just like authentic excitement in the business that you're building. So yeah.
That's really great advice. And thank you so much for Aadit for your time today. I know you must be crazy busy.
Yeah, no worries at all, Vishal. It's been great to be here, and thanks for taking the time.
So thanks everyone for joining us. Stay tuned for my next episode and see you all soon. Bye.